Welcome to the first live episode of the Roaming Viking podcast. To those who are listening on Podbean, Google Play, or iTunes, I'll be doing this every Monday at 2 p.m. I know it's Wednesday today. I'm sorry. I just got this idea last night. Well, actually a few days ago. And today's episode is actually a really sensitive topic to me, and it took me a few days to get ready for it. And I'm going to be going through some announcements before I get into today's topic, because I might not be able to do it afterwards. Alright, so, like I said, I'll be doing this every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I'll be going into a topic that interests me. And I will be doing some more interviews in the future. Those will not be on Monday. Well, they might be. I don't know. It all depends on this people's schedule. Also, at the end of the month, I will be doing a monthly recap / Q&A. So if you want to ask me questions or anything like that, you can find me at Instagram at Roaming Viking and Facebook at Roaming Viking. You can also find me on Instagram at The Roaming Viking. Alright, well, today's episode is in honor of National Suicide Prevention Month. So I thought I would talk about my own battles with depression. And yeah, this is a tough topic for me. About 3 years ago, I was in a martial arts competition, stick fighting to be exact, and I took a major blow to the head, and it took a lot out of me. I don't really remember fighting the rest of the tournament, even though there's videos showing that I did. Yeah, God damn, this is hard. But yeah, I yeah. I went through a good long time where I pretty much shrunk away from everything. I used to train between 5 and 10 times a week in martial arts, and that shrunk down to 2 only because it was habit, and I just shrunk away from everything. I stopped really going out, and it messed with me pretty bad. I pretty much tried to commit suicide multiple times, and this one time I had my knife right up to my wrist, and the only thing that stopped me was, and I didn't even realize I was doing this, had it right to my wrist. When I felt the pain, it's like I shrunk back, and it snapped me out of it, and it scared me so much that I literally locked all of my knives, and I'm a knife collector, into the other room. And yeah, and there was a few other times where I would just start looking at it, something, every once in a while I need to take a sleeping pill to go to sleep because I have a hard time shutting my brain off. And I was just looking at it, and I thought about eating all the pills, and then I threw the pill bottle all across the room, because I don't know, it's like whenever I was about to do that, something snapped me out of it. I don't know what it was, but it was really hard for me. But yeah, it also got to the point where if I didn't do something drastic, I pretty much was going to off myself. So sometime in like later in 2014, like in December-ish, December, January, my mom mentioned to me, like, why don't you go into become a park ranger? So I started looking into different programs where I could become a park ranger, and you need to have a degree in some sort of like natural science. And I found NAU, Northern Arizona University, and I applied. I honestly did not think I was going to get in, and I pretty much said to myself, if I don't get in, I'm just going to end it all. And well, I applied, and I pretty much waited for the what I thought was going to be a letter declining my entrance, but I ended up getting in. So it's like that actually helped me get a little bit out of my funk. I was still in it, and it really like helped me out a little bit. So that gave me something like to live for, essentially. And I ended up going to NAU in the fall of 2015. I honestly still have a hard time believing that I actually went out there and did it. Yeah. Um, but when I got there, it felt like there was a huge, like, chip off my shoulder. I actually felt good, at least until I was told to do a self-examination in one of my classes, and that brought everything back. And that was in February 2016. Had to do a self-examination project for one of my writing classes, and that just like sunk me back down, and it really messed with me. But luckily, because I was in this special program for non-traditional students in NAU, it allowed me to get free counseling. And I went through some counseling, some group counseling, and granted, I was with kids who were at least 8 years younger than me, but it helped me with getting some things out. It was still hard for me to get things out. It's still hard to me to this day, but it's getting a lot easier. For example, a year ago, I would have never thought about doing this. Yeah, but during that time, I started listening to the Joe Rogan podcast, and that really started getting me out of my funk, because it's like, oh my god, there's people out there that actually think like I do, and it really helped me, and I just essentially became addicted to that podcast. I found it through actually obviously YouTube, but I was watching the Young Turks interview with Jesse the Body Ventura, whom I freaking love because he's awesome. And I saw in the little watch next box, it was Jesse Ventura Joe Rogan Experience, and I just clicked next, and it's like, oh my god, this is absolutely amazing. So it's like, and I start watching here and there, and it just started snowballing to the point where now I listen to it almost every day when I work. Helps me get through the night, and eventually he had a podcast with this guy named Jocko Willink, who wrote the book Extreme Ownership. I'm in the process of reading that right now, but his podcast called Jocko Podcast has also been helping me out, and I found that like earlier this year, and it really helped me realize that there are worse things out there, uh, and I can get through whatever I need to get through. So, um, yeah, it's yeah. Well, that's my story. Ye- Helping people with depression is a really tricky thing, because when you have depression, you honestly don't want to be bothered by anybody. And if they are anything like me, which I can't guarantee, it's like I'm very good at hiding my emotions. And when you have depression, it feels like nothing. There's no other way to describe it. It's just nothingness. You feel nothing. So really, the best thing you can do if you have a friend who's suffering through depression is just let them know you're there for them. Um, Try and get them out of the house, because being with other people can help. Um, and it really will show them that you are there for them. If worst comes to worst, you should encourage your friend to seek help, or at least make sure that they know that if they ever need to talk, that you're there for them. Now, you got to remember, this will not work for everybody, because everybody is different. Um, but also, if you're listening to this and you're thinking about suicide, um, you can contact me at Roaming Viking on Twitter, or you can contact me on Roaming Viking on Facebook. But if worse comes to worse, call the suicide prevention hotline at 1-800-273-8255. Now, I'm sorry, I think this is really all I can do for today. Uh, if I talk anymore, I'm pretty much going to be gonna start breaking down, and I need to start getting ready for work soon. So, thank you for listening, and till next time.